A wise man once told me 99% of gamblers quit right before they win big. As wise as those words are, the last thing I would do is bet on the OVC Big South this season. Misfortune, defeat, heartbreak for many, the same old for others. Everything is uncertain and never a guarantee. What we can guarantee is Week 10 begins right here on OVC Big South Gameday, and it starts right now.
1, 2, 3, come on!
Welcome into OVC Big South Game Day for Week 10. Jacob Stonick, James Zugmeyer, Elizabeth Boaz. Another fun week settled up here. We got possible, once again, maybe an upset watch. Some fun games in the mix. Going to be another fun Saturday.
It's a really important Saturday coming up because for the rest of the conference, everyone else is rooting for Gardner Webb this weekend because somebody has to beat Tennessee Tech if anybody else wants to win the conference. So that's why it's one of our biggest games this week.
Well, I'm excited. We have a lot of fun games slated up for this week, and I'm just excited to see how it all unfolds.
Well, we'll start by taking a look at last weekend as we look at our highlights, and starting off with Charleston Southern getting a big win on homecoming. They tried to get, or looked to get that big win, second win in conference play, as they faced off against Eastern Illinois, and it all started 6-3 at the half, and was a low-scoring game for a long time, but eventually Joe McNabb, the backup tight end, getting in for the first touchdown of the game, 23-yard pass, able to put them up 13-3. But later on, Rashawn Cunningham with the dime, 5 yards from Osborne, makes that 16-10 for the Panthers after they put on a field goal, but not done yet. Right after the 2-minute warning, Hakeem Waters with a 1-yard rush, putting them up 17-16. But it would come down to this. David Portu gets a hand up for the Buccaneers, blocking Drew Schiller from 35 yards out, recovering it. They get it. They'll kneel it down for the homecoming win. Dubbed the Cardiac Bucks, able to get it done. And what a game it was over in Charleston, South Carolina, and a big win for Charleston Southern. We'll talk about this win again later on. But this is a trending team with Charleston Southern, and we mentioned it before. It was Charleston Southern's on the up, Eastern Illinois kind of on the down, and we kind of saw that here throughout the game. Eastern Illinois went up, came back down. Charleston Southern slowly progressed their way up.
This was a problem for Charleston Southern earlier in the year where this would not have happened, where they would not play a consistent 60 minutes, and then this one, they just kept going. They didn't have any points on the board until the dying seconds of the second quarter, didn't score their first touchdown of the game until 5:49 left in the fourth. Well, you're struggling. You can't run the ball. What do you do to win the football game? You put it in the hands of your playmaker. You let Zoltan Osborne go out there and air out the ball. He was 9 of 10 for 132 yards in the fourth quarter alone in this game. They said, Zoltan, win us the football game. They abandoned the run. They said, outside the red zone, we're not running it. Only ran it 2 times in the fourth quarter outside the red zone. They have faith in this guy. He's been a big part of their success over the last few games, and that's a reason why Charleston Southern right now looks like a hard team and a bad matchup for a lot of teams in this conference right now.
On the flip side with Eastern Illinois, their third down conversions really killed them in this game. Specifically speaking, they were 2 for 11 in this game, and it's been a problem all season. It definitely is an area that they can go to improve on. Additionally, with that, they're 56% for completion right now in throws. So Eastern Illinois really is just strong through their ground game. If they can put up more through passing yards, they'll be a stronger contender here in the OVC.
Yeah, the biggest thing right now is to get LaCrue going and get that throwing confidence back up. But also, another Illinois team this side, on the other side of the state, that being Western Illinois, they went and danced into the Music City. Nashville looking in for their first OVC Big South win at Tennessee State. And what a game this one was. It's going to be a very similar result, but we'll get to that in just a second. And it started late on in the first, pass tipped at the line, and Malini Tia with the 20-yard pick six. Christian Pierce able to get the hand on. Again, look at that, just the punch up, the pick, big 33 in white, able to put it into the end zone now and make it 7-3. Tennessee State, though, wouldn't go away. Connor Ruth with this beauty of a lob, getting the snag, 8-yard pass. Just a gorgeous, feathered in, past 2 defenders, able to pick up the 8-yard touchdown. But Damari Davis, we saw him on the SportsCenter top 10 not too long ago, and he picks up a 40-yard pass wide open in space, makes it 14-10. But it wouldn't stay that long for much longer. Later on, Freddie Perez had a field goal earlier, had it 14-13, picks up another one, makes it 14-16. But then later on, Antonio Chada, 51 yards to make it 17-16 with quite a bit of time left on the clock. And this was the decider here, the missed field goal on the backside by Freddie Perez, going 3 for 5 on the day. And now here are the 2 big plays at the end of the game. Joe Edwards picks up 1, staring him down, giving him the business, but now they got to hurry up. Tennessee State, they're still back in their own end, on their own 32. So who steps up again? Number 40, he's only had a couple of snaps. Last play of the game, 16-yard sack right at regulation. They charge onto the field and first got to meet him, the big coach. And that is exactly what Western Illinois needed to get their first win of the season. And again, we'll talk about Joe Edwards here in just a moment, but what a game overall. And I think, too, got to hand it to Antonio Chada, who has been incredible for the Leathernecks. 51 yards for the game-winning field goal. Incredible stuff for the Leathernecks. They've been growing and growing, and finally, it was only by 1 point, but they got the job done.
This was a really fun football game. I know the low scoring between the last 2 we talked about makes it sound like, well, who would want to watch that? Dude, these were really fun football games with a lot of narratives coming in. But I'm going to make a lot of Tennessee State fans mad here. Congratulations on making history. You are the first team to lose to Western Illinois when they score under 20 points since November 27th of 2010.
Wow.
That cannot happen with the defense that Western Illinois has. And it wasn't like they didn't move the football. They nearly doubled their total yards throughout the game. They had the ball for 19 more minutes. They were 3 for 3 on 4th down, but they threw 2 picks. One ended up back in their own end zone, and they were 4 for 17 on 3rd down. I did not like the play calls. I did not like the protection they gave their quarterback on 3rd down. And it's the little things that continue to kill this Tigers team.
Sometimes you just got to say it like it is. On the other hand, Western Illinois, they were ranked 8 out of 9th for defense in the conference right now, but they really showed up this weekend, giving Carson Carswell a bit of a break, honestly, in his ability to either pass or, for like the ground game. But that was really great because it takes some of the pressure off of that freshman quarterback and really allows him to connect on more plays. Jacob, you touched on that 40-yard pass that he had into the end zone where he connected with Damari Davis in the second quarter. But I do want to take a moment and just highlight some of the defensive players. Kevin Washington Jr. had 8 tackles, 3 tackles for losses, and 2 sacks in this game. Christian Pierce, 8 tackles, 4 tackles for loss in this game. Don Paul Keith, you mentioned, with his interception in the fourth quarter. And Malini, thank you, Tia, with a pick 6 in the first quarter for a 20-yard touchdown. I mean, just overall a well-rounded game. And their punter, I'm going to butcher this name, but Luke Drogmuller, put down in the comments how I could have done better on that. But he punted 8 times for an average of 43.5 yards, and 4 of them inside the 20, so he just deserves a pat on the back.
And I like that you mentioned these extra players because their defense has been such an afterthought this year. You look at them statistically, they have not been good, and they put so much pressure on their freshman quarterback. I mean, they've said, hey, you got to win us the football game every week. That's not sustainable. So for them to have a game where maybe the offense struggled a bit and all those guys stepped up on defense, that's a great sign moving forward for this program.
It really is. And speaking of Western Illinois, we'll get to Joe Edwards in just a moment. We'll take a look quickly now at the scores from last Saturday. SEMO picking up loss number 2 in the OVC. Tennessee Tech continues to roll 42-23. Gardner Webb with a big win over Lindenwood, ruining homecoming for the Lions. Been a little rough, about 500 so far in the year in OVC homecomings this season. Gardner Webb picking up the win 48-20. Western Illinois with that 17-16 win. And the other 17-16 win, Charleston Southern taking on Eastern Illinois. And as we mentioned, again, looking at the freshman of the week as we take a look at our players of the week here from this past Saturday. And it's Leatherneck Joe Edwards getting named freshman player of the week. making 2 clutch sacks. One of them was miscredited, but when you watch the film, it was big number 40 making the first stop for a 1-yard sack and then stepping in for a 16-yard sack for the final play of the game. Another look at it here. And he didn't see a lot of snaps. This is really one of the first games he's been in. And those were his first 2 career tackles. And man, how huge was it to get that spot for the Leathernecks, able to clinch that first win of the year for him.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this game, right? You have a true freshman coming in who has barely played any football this year. He is coming in to play 3 snaps at the end of a game where he is not warmed up, not up to game speed. He's playing out of position. He's listed as a linebacker, playing as a defensive end, and they're only rushing 3. If you're the coaching staff, you're not expecting anything here. You're also lining him up against a 6'7" left tackle who is towering over him. And his first thought was, what if I just bull rush that guy? Like, think of the confidence. It's a true freshman getting into the game against a guy who's way bigger than him.
Got to make your spot.
He bull rushes him on the first one, pushes him back into the quarterback, able to get a free sack on that one. And the second one, he says, hey, you know how I bull rushed you last time? I'm just going to fake to my right, go back to my left, and get the quarterback on the ground to win the football game. That is extremely impressive for a true freshman with no experience to come in and make a mark like that. And if I'm Western Illinois, I'm thinking, hey, maybe we make a position change here. This guy looks pretty good on the edge.
Absolutely, and I do want to also touch on Joe Edwards. As James mentioned, he is a true freshman. Having that confidence to bet on yourselves, so many freshmen going in redshirt themselves their first year because they know they're not going to get playing time and they don't want to waste that year of eligibility. But when you take a look at Joe Edwards' family, it begins to make sense. His old man played at Indiana football. His older brother was drafted in 2019 by the Los Angeles Rams, winning the 2022 Super Bowl. And he currently plays for no other than James Zugmeyer's favorite team in the NFL, the Buffalo Bills, okay? His family is competitive. They know football. Both him and his brother were all-conference players. But Joe specifically, to touch more on him, in high school he was all-county, all-conference, defensive player of the year, defensive lineman of the year, and also all-conference in basketball. He is just a competitive individual. So when you look at the bigger picture, it makes more sense that he had the confidence to bet on himself.
Well, maybe we should have him trade places with his brother this week. You know, the Bills got the Chiefs. We're going to need some help on that D-line, so maybe slot him in there. You know, we're dealing with some injuries over in Buffalo.
Yeah, well, the Downers Grove, Illinois native certainly making a big impact in his first few snaps at the collegiate level. But a guy who has put on a lot of snaps at the collegiate level, our next player of the week here, Carson Gresock, getting tabbed Offensive Player of the Week after a dominant performance against Lindenwood. And oh my gosh, what a game he had. 4 rushing touchdowns. He was just unstoppable against the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people across the football world are really upset that Cam Scadaboo got injured this week. If you want to watch someone play like him, tune into Gardner Webb football because this is the guy that can do that type of stuff. You can't get him on the ground. He bounces off tacklers, and he's not like one of those running backs you're going to throw to the outside. You're going to run some creative play calls with him. No, he's old school, run between the tackles, and just get yardage. And they were so confident in him this week, they took the quarterback off the field several times and said, hey, we're going to line you up in Wildcat. Go get us a few yards. That takes a lot of confidence from the coaches and your own ability to say, hey, this guy, we don't even need to try to fool the defense. You're good enough by yourself to go out there and put it in the end zone and give us a bunch of yardage and momentum on offense.
And with us being over halfway through the season, you'd think by now that some coaching staff would find a way to stop him, but they just haven't yet efficiently. And it's not surprising when you look at his stats. He's leading all skilled positions in touchdowns for the conference this season and is #1 in conference rushing yards. Carson Gresock, well-deserved on this Player of the Week, with over half of Gardner Webb's conference touchdowns being credited to him. I mean, he is unstoppable. Everybody knows it. It's in your face. And Carson is even more important to the team because Gardner Webb keeps giving up long drives in their defense. So it's really emphasizing the importance of having a strong running game to really give that defense a break to mentally and physically reset in between plays.
Well, I tell you what, I think your comparison to Cam Scadaboo is perfect. And I believe they call them CT animals, I believe is the term for it. But on the other side of the ball, on the defensive side, it was a Charleston Southern Buccaneer getting named Defensive Player of the Week. Malik McKinzie getting named Defensive Player of the Week for his game against Eastern Illinois, making some key stops in their big homecoming win. And again, 13 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, and also 1.5 sacks as well. They had, just to throw in, also had a forced fumble in the mix as well. Just overall one of the best performances we've seen in terms of all around. You're hitting all of your numbers in terms of defensive categories in one game. Incredible stuff from McKinzie.
This is a great surprise for Charleston Southern that he has been this good this year, because coming out of high school wasn't too highly recruited, went to D2 UNC Pembroke, and he's already doubled his sack total from last season. That's at the Division II level, moves up to FCS. He's already doubled that number. He's getting pressure on nearly every single play. He added 10 pounds of muscle in the offseason, and you'll say, maybe he still is a little bit undersized for a defensive end. It doesn't matter. He's so fast, he's so shifty, his footwork is so good, and you saw it in this game. No matter who they put on him to try to block him, they just couldn't keep him in front. And that's why he got to the quarterback so many times and made so many big plays.
Also, too, to touch on that, he is a little bit smaller, but even being 1 year removed from Division II and still stepping up to playing against stronger and faster guys on the field, being smaller for his position is impressive. And people just love to see an underdog winning, and Malik McKinzie is definitely the definition of that. And I love that he is an unplanned, impactful player of the season. I mean, it's the best surprise anyone in the coaching staff could ask for, especially considering that the Buccaneers lost a lot of their great defensemen in the previous year to graduating.
Well, they pick up a big win. We'll talk about that win in just a moment. And Malik McKinzie, obviously, with just an amazing performance defensively on the side of the ball. But we will transition into looking into this past week, Western Illinois getting their first conference win of the season. We mentioned it in the highlights, 17-16 win over Tennessee State, and what a big win it was, as they finally seemed to be able to push over the top of that unclimbable hill that seemed to be in their way. They've been playing so good, it seemed like it was just, for some reason, they just couldn't win, despite playing some really, really good football, getting some really close scores, one-score games for the past few weeks, and finally able to get it done against Tennessee State.
Well, it's cool, right? Because you wouldn't have expected them to win a football game like this. I mean, when you imagine Western Illinois football, you're imagining scores in the 30s and the 40s that they're trying to outscore the other team. They didn't have to in this one. And you look at this season compared to last year, excluding the Tennessee Tech loss, which I think is fair considering what Tennessee Tech is this year, their games have been decided by an average of 4 points. Last year, it was 16 points. They're playing much tighter football, and you gotta think this program's only 2 years removed from losing 24 straight games. I mean, you are seeing improvement in real time, and yeah, the record looks bad. You look at the stats, it's not all quite there yet, but you have a head coach who has really turned things around. You're playing teams in your conference, your peers tightly, and you're bringing in young talent, and you found a quarterback who is a true freshman that is playing out of his mind this season. I like what's happening over in Macomb right now. We just gotta see if they can keep it going.
To touch on that too, with it being Western Illinois' first conference win of the season, I don't think it could have come at a better time. They just beat Tennessee State University, who is currently ranked 8 in the overall defensive conference play. They have a bye week, and then they're going to play the number 9th ranked defense team in the conference, Lindenwood. And I think this is perfect timing for them because it really gives them time to refuel, let that victory soak in before they go and play the Lions. Also, to touch on that, even though the Lindenwood Lions are ranked number 9th defensively, they are standing-wise not at all towards the bottom. So they really need to keep in mind that Lindenwood's putting up 5.3 more points per game than Western Illinois is, and they need to come up with a good game plan on that. Specifically, I think it would be great if Kason Carswell can improve on his passing accuracy, with it only being a 58% completion rate right now. I think if he can make more opportunities for Western consistently, that it will make Western Illinois more lethal in the conference.
And you got to think, the last few times Western and Lindenwood have met up, fireworks. They've been really entertaining football games. If you're a fan of offense, make sure to tune into that one. But they got the bye to prepare for it. And once again, I just like where they're going right now.
And Western Illinois, they have their bye week here this week, and will take on Lindenwood in week 11. But we look ahead now at Charleston Southern, and they're able to finally put together a streak for the first time in 2 years. First time they have won 2 in a row since 2023. And what a way to get it done as well. Get a big one, and then follow it up with the homecoming win. And yes, 2 is a streak. I'm just going to lay it out. I think 2 is a streak. I'm a full believer. 2 is a streak. Once you have 2, it's together. I digress. Still, though, Charleston Southern, like we said, they are trending up. They're getting to, I don't know if they're quite at that place where they really want to be, but they're certainly getting really, really close, and they have guys that are just progressed so well. And I think as a team, you see exactly what the players in it. The players are slowly improving, all as a team, and the team as a whole is improving, and they are slowly but surely getting the results they want.
Well, you go back to the beginning of the season and you look at them, like the rest of the conference looking at them as saying, that should be a free win each week. It hasn't been as of late. They played a really good game against Gardner Webb. Mind you, that was when they were at full strength. I mean, they lost by 3 points to Gardner Webb, who is one of the top teams in this conference. They gave Tennessee Tech their hardest game of the season. That was Tennessee Tech's lowest margin of victory on the year. They just won 2 straight games against teams they should beat. These are signs of a competitive football team and a program that's heading in the right direction. You've got to take care of the games you're expected to win in, and you've got to make those games against those top dogs in the conference close. I don't think their coach can ask for anything else right now or anything more. And you've got all these standout players who keep winning Player of the Week.
Speaking of the standout players, I do want to touch on Malik McKinzie again because it's just insane. 9 of his 13 tackles have been solo with 3.5 tackles for loss. He is the force to be reckoned with. Also, CSU, Charleston Southern, they're second in the conference. Malik McKinzie specifically for tackles for loss, averaging 1.3 per games, and is third in the conference for sacks. I also need to shout out Steve Zayachowski, who leads the conference in assisted tackles with 42, total tackles with 82, and is third for solo tackles with 40. I also need to point out, if they win this next game, that will be their 3rd win in a row, which they have not done since 2019 when they won their last 4 games of the season.
Wow. I mean, and again, like Zayachowski is just an incredible linebacker. He was Defensive Player of the Week not too long ago as well. But they're going to have a tough one here coming up here this Saturday, as they will take on Southeast Missouri State on the road, and SEMO is a team that's certainly trending up as well, headed by the unexpected and suddenly, all of a sudden, had to be thrust into the game, Johnny Weber, who came in versus UT Martin. He has been leading this ship, and they have been incredible. Now, Charleston Southern, they will once again have to face another really, really good team that is doing nothing but progressing upwards.
I believe in them a bit more than I would have in the past because of what their defense has been able to do, and also some of the weaknesses that SEMO has. I mean, you look at the other side, you have a true freshman who does not have a lot of game experience, and when he does get pressured, I haven't liked his decision-making so far. So for Charleston Southern, I want to see them mix up that defense. Bring different looks. Try to confuse him. Show him things he hasn't seen before because he just doesn't have the reps, and he's also not a very mobile quarterback. So, you know, you look back to some of the Bengals games over the last few weeks where you see Joe Flacco taking off, you tip your cap. You don't game plan for that. If he ends up beating you with his legs every once in a while, that's okay. You just need to make sure that you keep the passing game throw off their passing game. There we go. English. Throw off their passing game and just don't let him get outside the pocket. I mean, just keep that pressure on him the entire football game because they force a lot of turnovers. This team is second in interceptions per game in the conference this year, and you have one of the best run Ds and that is also incorrect. I'm on a roll right now. I can't speak English and I can't say the correct stats. Either way, the last few weeks they have been turning over other teams. Those stats were for UT Martin, by the way. We'll get to them after this.
To touch on the SEMO aspect of it, SEMO's passing game is better than some of the teams we've talked about already. They're 62% completion rate, and they're averaging about 289 yards passing per game. So it could be better, right? But it's not bad. They've got the offensive ability to mix it up. They've got several players who can rush the ball, and they've got several players who can receive the ball. I'm struggling with English now too. It's everywhere.
It's
Jacob,
contagious.
you're next. But they've got several players who are really stepping up. Epton Jr. Brandon with 4 rushing touchdowns, averaging 35.8 yards per game. I mean, Cole Rubble with 1 touchdown, averaging 32.3 yards per game for rushing. And then you've got their receiving, Calvin Gilbert with 4 receiving touchdowns, 72.8 yards per game, and Donnie Cheers with 3 receiving touchdowns, averaging 56 yards per game. They've got the people to put the numbers up on the field, which is going to be a very big advantage for them because they can choose what do we want to push, what do we want to take back, and confuse Charleston Southern's defense.
I'm just a little concerned with them because their run game is so inconsistent week to week. Like, they have talented guys, it's just the run lanes aren't opening up for them. and you're going up against the Zayakowskis of the world this week, who are really good at stopping the run, who make really good guesses on which running lane they're going to go through. So I am a little bit concerned about the run game in this one, but you're right. They have some great players. They just got to figure out a way to utilize them in this matchup.
It's certainly going to be a fun one, I think. The odds say differently, but I think it's going to be an absolute slugfest down in Cape Girardeau. So it'll be a fun one to keep an eye on. But the other side of that CSU EIU game, Eastern Illinois will be taking on UT Martin, trying to snap their 3-game skid as they head back to Charleston. And again, they have been up, they've been down, all over the place, and it's certainly not the end of the road for them. They have to take on Alabama later on this year. So it'll be interesting to see how they hold up. And I think against UT Martin's a good game, obviously, to try and reestablish themselves. We've seen the faults, we've seen the good. UT Martin's kind of been up and down, and I think for Eastern Illinois, a good spot for them to try and just work on themselves, get going forward. But the same thing goes for UT Martin, who's right up there. They were really progressing back.
I like that you mentioned the Alabama ties, because you got UT Martin's head coach. Well, his son is over at Alabama right now trying to win a Heisman. So we'll see what he picks up in this one when he passes on to Alabama. Not that Alabama should have much of a problem, but you never know. You never know late in the season. These are trap games. But the problem with Eastern Illinois right now is that they have not thrown the ball effectively this year. So if you're UT Martin, you need to stack that box, consistently bring pressure, and don't let the run game beat you. Because that's the only way Eastern Illinois is able to generate any offense right now. It's been a big problem for them, and they also have a pretty good run D in general. I said it earlier for the wrong team, but they do have one of the best run Ds in the entire conference, and they have forced the second most interceptions against the conference teams that they've played against. That does not bode well for Eastern Illinois. I think this is a good matchup for them defensively, and their offense has been doing great things over the last few weeks.
You touched on this. I want to make a point on it. Eastern Illinois, I believe that they can increase their ability for passing. LaCrue, he's got legs. Let them use it, or have them let him use it.
There you go.
And you touched on it earlier, Jacob, but he does. He can run the ball. So I think it would be great if they could allow him some options to do that. Also, too, he needs to grow his confidence with shorter passing plays. That's the foundational aspects to then be able to consistently throw it for farther. He needs to run more option plays, because he can run short screening passes to the running backs or wide receivers and short crossing routes. I think that those are several good starting points for EIU in this game, or Eastern Illinois in this game, and I think it would really help them lift off.
And I like that you mentioned that, because, yeah, they've struggled. You have to do the basic things right. I mean, the short passing game, that's one of the easiest things you can execute. You have talented running backs. So if you get them to the outside, you run those screens, it could open things up in the passing game. And then you also don't have to rely on your blocking as much, because as much as we give a lot of crap to LaCrue this year, which not all of it's warranted, because the O-line has not given them time to throw. So if you take the O-line out of the equation, you're getting rid of the ball quickly. That could really open things up for them here.
It'll be interesting to see. But moving on to our next look, it will be an absolute dogfight in the sense of an air battle dogfight in Nashville, as both teams facing off. Lindenwood and Tennessee State love to throw the ball a lot, and we will see that here today, later on today. Nate Glantz and Byron McNair, who will you can just only expect them to just be slinging it back and forth for a lot of it. These are two teams that have really grown into their passing game. Obviously, Lindenwood, they've progressed on it a little bit more, and they've really kind of fine-tuned it. Had some difficulties against Gardner Webb past couple weeks, but that's, they've been playing in a lot of rain. That being said, Tennessee State, they love to pass the ball. Problem has been a little bit inconsistent, but I think it'll be a fun one to see what the tactics will be against two defenses that kind of have been a little struggling so far.
Lindenwood passes the ball because they're good at it. Tennessee State passes the ball because they have to, because they can't figure out the run game. But I'm going to just go on Lindenwood here. These are their keys. You take last week's game plan, you throw it in the dumpster, you light it on fire, and you forget it ever existed. And I know it's harsh, but last week, all of the things that make Lindenwood a good football team, I feel like they didn't utilize it enough. There was no play action. They decided they were going to run between the tackles. That's not how you've played all season long. You're taking the ball out of one of your best players, and you're turning Nate Glantz, who is one of the best mobile guys in the conference, who is not a vanilla pocket passer. We're just going to snap it to you out of shotgun in an empty backfield, and we'll see what happens. It didn't work. Shocker, it didn't work. So this week, you got to get back to what makes you a good football team. Trust your guys. Also defensively, they were sitting in a lot of soft zone, didn't bring a lot of pressure. these are games where you need your top guys to step up, especially last week with second place being on the line in the conference. I just don't think they trusted their guys enough, and they got away from what makes them so good.
Definitely. And to touch on the airplay, I need Tennessee State University to not throw as many interceptions. They've had 8 so far in just conference alone this year, and I think that alone would definitely increase their odds. Also, too, at the same time, Lindenwood defense is allowing 210 rushing yards per game in conference. Tennessee State would be smart to run the ball. They've got a couple people who they could lean on, and an interview with Reggie Barslow earlier in this week, their Tennessee State University's head coach, he talked about how the team is looking to make more touchdowns this week so they don't have to rely so heavily upon their special teams players. However, he does put a lot of faith in his special team players, but obviously you do want to get more points up through the touchdowns.
And I will say I agree with that, but he also needs to look in the mirror a little bit last week when you tried your kicker's career long, when you were perfect on 4th down in that football game, and you said, hey, we're not going to go for it here, when they had a good opportunity to continue going up in the game. Take that, what you saw last week, and execute on what he said, because touchdowns win you games. And they just don't get it done on 3rd and 4th down enough, so they're left in these situations where, all right, let's check it down and get a shorter field goal. That just doesn't work consistently.
And that, my friends, is football. But a team that's been excellent at this football we love to talk about so much, Tennessee Tech holds the longest regular season win streak here in the FCS, as they have won 13 in a row going back to last season. Their last loss came against, you won't believe this one, Western Illinois last year on October 19th. It's 37-21 on the road. Since then, they have been excellent, have not lost in regular season play, and they continue to just prove it so far. They have been, I mean, you can't even just specify. They're just excellent at everything they've been doing this year, and I certainly don't think they're going to slow up anytime soon.
I am with you on that. This is the second time, and given it's a short history, but in the history of the OVC Big South, that a team has begun a season 5-0 in conference play. So they are making history there. This is the longest win streak in their entire program's history. They are doing everything well on both sides of the ball. And even last week, they were outgained by SEMO. You wouldn't have guessed it looking at the score. I mean, it looked like they blew them out, but they're efficient, right? Okay, it's 3rd down. We just need to do enough. And that's all they ever do, is they just do enough, bare minimum, and then they can also have the big splash plays that kill other teams.
Also, too, Tennessee Tech's chemistry is just unmatched this season. You look at a lot of those stats, and they do have some players leading in some categories defensively as well as offensively, but for the most part, you're seeing other schools' players' names up there, which really just goes to speak about the teamwork chemistry of specifically this team's defense. They're working together to not let someone pass. They don't rely on one star player to really make a lot of their important plays. Across the board, it's just greatness that we're seeing this season. And I'm specifically excited to see Quinn Quintel. He was mentioned, wasn't he a player of the week a few weeks ago?
Fairly he probably has a couple of
I'm
awards
excited
by
to
now.
see what he's going to do in this game specifically.
I feel like he's going to win a lot of awards by season.
I wouldn't be
end.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly deep Tennessee Tech team, and there's a team that's trying to upset him who's coming off a big win, that being Gardner Webb in our game of the week here this week. And that is going to be, I mean, a test of probably the 2 most potent running backs. I say running backs in the sense that it's Carson Gresock against about 3 Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles and led by Quintel Quinn. So, I mean, it's an incredibly tough backfield to stop. And the one thing I think is going to be the difference here is the running game. And when they're both that good, the thing is when you have Gresock on one side and then you just have essentially a way to reload for Tennessee Tech where they're just throwing the next guy up behind Quinn, I mean, that's going to be incredibly hard to stop.
And we also don't know if Gresock's going to be 100% this week. I mean, last week he was shaking out the cobwebs on a few of those plays. Didn't look the greatest, but you can't speculate on that stuff. And we also know that they did not tell us who their starting quarterback was going to be last week. This week we don't know, but if I am Gardner Webb, if I want to win this game and I am serious about winning this conference, I'm putting Nate Hampton in. If he's 75 to 100%, no matter where he's at injury-wise, he needs to be playing in this football game.
I will rebuttal with, Cole Pennington did play very good against Lindenwood.
And I'll also argue that their coaching staff really helped him out to simplify things, and Lindenwood defensively, I don't know what they were doing. But I like Cole Pennington. I was really hard on him last week. He looked good, but I would like Nate Hampton in this game. You see the throws that he's made over the course of the season. He's dynamic, he has better legs, he makes better decisions, and they can do more things with this offense. But for Tennessee Tech, you have to slow down the run. Which you mentioned, they got 3 guys in that backfield that seem impossible, and they're just consistently getting rest. They're all ready to go whenever they need them. Dude, they're averaging 6.5 yards per carry this year.
Crazy.
That's second in all of FCS.
I don't think it helps when Quintel Quinn is basically a running refrigerator.
Yeah.
That guy is built.
So in this football game, Gardner Webb, I understand there's not many ways to beat this Tennessee Tech team, but over the last few weeks, it does seem like Vesperis has been a little bit off. They haven't passed for over 200 yards in 4 games, and that was against Western, and we know their secondary struggled a bit this year. So make them throw the ball. Make them not run it every single down, because if they're running like they normally do, this game's going to get ugly quick.
Yeah, and also too, there's Jennings Quidarius as well for the Golden
Eagles.
Thank you, for the Golden Eagles for Tennessee Tech with 5 conference touchdowns. He's a rushing player, and then you've also got Quinn Quintel, who we've all mentioned earlier, with 4 conference touchdowns. I'm quite interested to see how this game is going to unfold specifically. I mean, Tennessee Tech, they are really strong in just about every single area. Could they be doing better than how they have been in the past few games?
Maybe.
It's debatable, but I'm really looking forward to see this specific matchup between the first and second team in the conference.
Well, would you guys argue this is their toughest matchup of the year so far? Because I think I would say that. Outside of maybe earlier in the year where they had to beat a ranked team at the time that we've now known maybe shouldn't have been ranked, would you say this is their biggest test so far?
At this point in the season, for sure, for Tennessee Tech. Simple as that. Gardner Webb, they have faced some really good teams. I mean, they've faced against some really strong FBS opponents to start off the season as well. And Gardner Webb, I don't think they've gotten some of the results. They've been a little inconsistent, but when they are firing at all cylinders, they are just a machine that can operate at full efficiency, and I think especially it starts with that backfield.
Yeah, I think that this is a great opportunity for Gardner Webb to maybe shake up some of Tennessee Tech's momentum that they've had going, for sure. I'm not sure if it's their strongest matchup of the season, but it's definitely up there. I don't know if I could choose one. I'm so indecisive.
Well, we'll take a look now at our standings and get a feel of how it's looking coming into Week 10 here today. And Tennessee Tech still on the top. That 8-game win streak here in the season, plus the 5 last season, that racks up 13. Gardner Webb right behind him at 3-1. UT Martin also at 3-1. 3-5, but their 3 wins have come at a very big time. Had a rocky start to the season in the non-con, but they have really bounced back well. 3-1 UT Martin. Lindenwood, SEMO tied in the middle there at 2-2, 3-5 as well. Lindenwood, they're also trying to end their 2-game skid. Eastern Illinois in the mix. Charleston Southern right behind them. Western Illinois at 1-4, and Tennessee State still looking for that coveted first conference win.
Yeah, you look at this right now, it really feels like a 3-team race. I feel like Lindenwood kind of eliminated themselves last week strictly because I don't see Tennessee Tech losing 2 games this year. So Gardner Webb either has to get it done this week, or it feels like they're maybe out, and then UT Martin, they just got to keep on winning until they play Tennessee Tech.
Well, they believe now it is time for everyone's favorite segment, Who You Got?, as we wrap it up today with trying to predict who will win each game here in the OVC Big South. And we are going to start with the fun one down in Cape Girardeau. It is a 2.5-point favorite for SEMO in this one against Charleston Southern. So, James, we'll start off with you. Who do you got?
I like that, excuse me. I like that Vegas has officially said, hey, we actually start to believe in Charleston Southern a little bit there when you mentioned the spread, because I've been believing in them for a few weeks now.
Still a 2-score underdog, though.
It's better than it's been.
They're on the up and up.
Like, some of the spreads we've seen this year have been disgusting. You're seeing a little bit of improvement there, but hey, Zoltan Osborne's been great for them. Their team has momentum. They're getting better in every aspect. But, unfortunately, SEMO is better at nearly every skill position. They just believe they are a better football team in general. And matchup-wise, I don't know. Even though I like Charleston Southern secondary, I don't know if it's going to be enough. So give me the team from Cape Girardeau, Lindenwood's arch rivals, the SEMO Redhawks.
You know, I hate to agree with you guys, but I mean, SEMO, I feel like they're the more tested team in the long run, right? Charleston Southern has had that momentum building, but I really do think it's going to be SEMO that's going to take the win this week. So I'll take them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in love with the Johnny Weber story right now. He's just been incredible. So I'm going to take SEMO to win here, but take Charleston Southern to cover.
I'm with you there.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a much tighter game. I'm thinking probably just 10-point difference if it's a 2-score game, or around the range of 2, or just a touchdown difference. I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's going to be an absolute slugfest. So SEMO to win, Charleston Southern to cover. Next up, we got UT Martin taking on Eastern Illinois in Charleston. Eastern Illinois trying to end their 3-game losing streak. James, who you got?
So that is the question. Can they end the losing streak? And the answer is no. You're not doing it this week. Look, the team, especially on defense, the morale has to be at an all-time low because their defense has actually been really solid for them this year. I've liked a lot of things I've seen, but their offense cannot move the football. They cannot put points on the board. I don't like them in this matchup, especially against the team that's so good against the run, that has a lot of momentum in their favor and coming off the bye where they're getting that rest. Give me UT Martin here.
You know, not to say the same thing you said again, but also I really need Eastern Illinois' third down conversions to improve. They've been struggling with that all season, but last week's 2 for 11 really does not give me the confidence to stake my brand new reputation to them. So I'm going to go with UT Martin for this game.
Yeah, again, clean sweep here. UT Martin, they're favored on the road, and I think, again, there's going to be the fight. I'm taking UT Martin purely out of coming off the bye, and I just think overall they're more consistent, especially offensively. I think it'll be close. I wouldn't be surprised if East Illinois is able to pull this one off. I think it's going to be another tight game, just a 4.5-point difference for UT Martin. So, again, close one, and it also wouldn't be surprised if they win. But I think UT Martin, I think, is just too ready to go right now compared to how Eastern Illinois is going.
Did you say the spread was -4.5?
Yeah, -4.5. That's it.
I know you think it's going to be close. I'd take that all day.
Oh, 100%.
I really do. I believe in UT Martin big time in this one. They match up so well at each position. But I mean, we all agree. But we also all agreed on Lindenwood last week, and they let us down.
I'm not in that.
That just happened. That just happened. So speaking of Lindenwood, move on to game number 3, and that is Lindenwood on the road going to the Music City, taking on the Tigers of Tennessee State in a big cat battle. This one I think is going to be a little bit all over the place, and obviously I'm not going to start, so we'll start with you, James.
Lindenwood has been punched in the mouth several times this year. You look back at the beginning of the season, that loss to St. Thomas. You look back to the FBS game they had. They have responded well in all of these games except for the last one. And I think that's more of a fluke. I really feel like they overcomplicated the last game. If they get back to basics here, I truly believe that this Lindenwood team should beat this one. I mean, the TSU, I mean, what are they? I said it last week, and it sounded harsh, but unfortunately they proved me right. What are they really good at this year? It feels like the things they do a lot, they do it out of necessity. They can't beat you with any one of like their strengths. Because I don't really know if they have one thing that they're that great at. So Lindenwood's good in a few different categories. You also look at the quarterback position. Nate Glantz has been so good all year long. If they utilize him properly, give me the Lions here.
I'm going with the Lions because of Nate Glantz. He has proven time and time again that he can be pretty consistent with his throwing game. And I think Lindenwood's the better team. There's not much to say on that you guys haven't already tipped off on. But a lot of great games match up this week.
Well, I'll tell you what, Vegas, I bring up Vegas a lot, just to give more context in the games and the belief around it. That being said, I am now recognizing that they only pay attention game by game. They do not, unless it's big time, they don't pay attention to season trends. It's only a 4 or 5.5 difference for this game. I mean, yes, it's on the road. It's a road game for Lindenwood. But, I mean, Tennessee State has just been way too inconsistent. The passing game's not there. And, I mean, I just think Nate Glantz is just going to win this quarterback battle. I think they got the better receivers. I think defensively, again, also more, just a little bit better on the edge. And we saw, I mean, Lindenwood's strengths on defense are their edge rushers. And we saw what happened on those last few plays. What happened to those outside guards? They got bullied. You know, as simple as that. So I think Lindenwood's going to win this one, and I think it's certainly going to be a win and cover for Lindenwood, but for sure, probably multiple points there. So we now transition to our game of the week to wrap this one up. It is Gardner Webb on the road taking on Tennessee Tech, and just also add homecoming for the Golden Eagles here. This is going to be a fun one. I think a lot of people are thinking, probably could be. I mean, it's possible. It's always a possibility. Upsets are always possible. It's going to be a tough one, though, in a rough environment for Gardner Webb. They might have the weapons. They might not. I don't know yet. James, we'll start with you.
I really like what Gardner Webb's coaching staff did last week. And, you know, they had this media week this week where the OVC got to go out and talk to all the coaches. They game planned for Pennington to make him more comfortable in this offense. And it worked. I mean, to be able to completely change the way you play offense for one player and get it to work the next week, that is very impressive. I like what their coaching staff did. So I have faith in them this week to find a way to slow down Tennessee Tech on the ground. Because if they can scheme for Cole Pennington, who had really struggled up to that point, I feel like there's a chance there. But look, Tennessee Tech is Tennessee Tech, and they're going to do Tennessee Tech things. You can't really stop them.
That's the best way to put it.
Tennessee Tech things.
That's just the best way to put it.
Because, like, you look at them, right? They are, their passing attack hasn't been that good. Because they haven't needed it, and they've been playing in the rain.
Yeah.
They don't come into the game saying, hey, Kekoa Vesperis, can you throw it 30 times for us? Like, that's just not something they need to do. But he can. He's proven it in his career, even before coming to Tennessee Tech, that he can do that. So, Gardner Webb, they're going to have to cheat to try to stop the run, and I think Vesperis is most likely going to have one of his best years of the season, best games of the season in this one.
Absolutely. Also, too, I just have to say this now. I am so excited for all of these matchups this week. They are hopefully going to be close. I love watching a good close football game. And at the same time, I'm not entirely sure this one is going to be super close.
Yeah.
Purely because Gardner Webb keeps giving up too many long drives defensively, and Tennessee Tech is definitely going to capitalize off of that. So give me Tennessee Tech.
Well, the number 8 team in the country, back at home in Cookeville for their homecoming. 5-0 in conference play, 8-0 on the season. They have been incredible. And obviously they had a start that said people saying, hey, you know, it's not that impressive. But they've certainly showed that. What do you mean not impressive? We're still good. And they've done that these past few games. They have stepped up so well, and it's going to be a harsh environment. I think Gardner Webb is going to be close. I mean, I think they have the running ability. They just, if they can break through the line, establish Gresock, they'll keep it close. I think that they have abilities. Cole Pennington's really stepping into that spot. If he ends up playing, I think, simplify it again, I think it can work. Again, it's a big difference for Tennessee Tech, 21.5. But shockingly, over-under only at 59.5. So not a lot of points expected to be scored here, despite a 21.5 point difference. Now, I love upsets. Don't get me wrong, I love them so much. And you want to see it happen. I believe in this Gardner Webb team so much. But like you said, Tennessee Tech is just going to do Tennessee Tech team things. And no gimmicks today, nothing special. I think I'm just going to put it plain. Tennessee Tech wins big. That being said, I'm going to throw this one in there. Gardner Webb covers.
What was the spread again?
21.5.
Honestly, I'm with you on that. And also, I take the over too. %.
Oh, 100%. Over, cover for Gardner Webb, but Tennessee Tech still wins.
If Gardner
today.
Webb manages to upset Tennessee Tech for homecoming,
I mean, hey, homecomings is like 500 for the OVC this year. I believe it's 4-4.
Yeah.
This is one of the last ones. I believe it is the last one for OVC Big South teams. Tennessee Tech rounding it off. Will it be an over 500 or under 500 on homecoming games this season will be the real question.
I'll say it's scary for all these teams that we picked this week, because when we go across the board on a team, it has not boded well in the close games as of late. So look out.
It really hasn't.
Hopefully we didn't curse your teams, but I'm looking forward to this weekend. We got some big games coming up.
Yeah, and like I said, I think there's a couple games too where I think they're going to be a lot closer, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone pulls off a win. But it's going to do it from us. Jacob Stonik, James Zugmeyer, Elizabeth Boaz. This has been OVC Big South Game Day. Enjoy your college football Saturday.